Hey everyone, how's it going? So let me just make sure that my audio is coming through. Communication gets it to default just to make sure. You never know. All right, I can see that I'm live. Calm down with the name. No hate here. So yeah, I just noticed that Dan was streaming earlier, and man, it's good to see Dan being just more out in front and uh, kind of talking about this stuff. And I don't think there's anything wrong with calling out that which you think is wrong. I think we live in a world where a lot of people have a lot of tribal causes and they have a lot of favorite things, but they never really seem to care too much for the truth. You know, I woke up just this morning on Facebook to someone wishing that I would die. You know, that was interesting. That's an interesting way to wake up is to be told by someone that they wish you would die, to comment on certain things about you and be like, "I hope you die in a few years." That's a great thing to hear about yourself waking up first thing. And the reasoning for this is because I just posted all I did was post that Thomas Massey lost. Someone else, uh, basically called Massey a anti-Semite and all this stuff, and then someone else started trolling them. I have a lot of different friends from a lot of different walks of life and see things very differently from each other. So sometimes it gets really interesting in the comments. But I pretty much just stayed out of it, ate my popcorn, and when I was asked for my opinion about Israel, m m I mean, most plainly, my comments on Israel would be, Israel, the land it is on, should belong to the Orthodox Church. The Catholic Church and the Orthodox Church should have never schismed. It's really not that complicated, you know? Let's see if anyone wants to join. What's up, Christian? Um, it's just really not that complicated, how I feel about it. But this somehow to some people just automatically translates to some kind of hate. Like because you have your own preferences that go against someone else's preferences, this means that you wish they weren't alive or did not exist or anything like that. And it's okay to have your personal preferences and rooted in what you think the truth is. I mean, why would I do anything else but the moral right thing and speak out in which I think is the moral correct thing. So, yeah, I woke up to someone wishing death on me because I'm not a Zionist, right? And I'll never be a Zionist, but also at the same time, you can not be a Zionist and guess what? You don't have to hate anyone. You don't have to hate that group of people where some of them happen to be Zionists. Newsflash, you don't have to choose between Israel and Islam, especially if you live here. I don't understand why that is so absolutely difficult for some people to understand that you don't have to be involved in that. That's between them. And you can also at the same time be like, that's not what would be going on if we still controlled that region. We had some bad times back during some of the Catholic Crusades between the Orthodox and the Catholics, but besides that, overall, if we were all one body, if we were all one church again, this would not happen. Most of the things that you see in the world that you hate so much, that you allow Satan to set you against other people over tribal politics would not happen if we were one church together. It only came through pride, this like spiritual Tower of Babel. It only came through pride of, oh, I know better. I know better. And first that started with the Catholic Church, wanting to implement all these things and take control of, the rest and have a pope and say they're over, all the church and not everyone agreed with that. And then, well, okay, we're just going to split off and now we're the true church, right? And then, it came down to, and then some, there are some people that I have a hard time faulting the Catholics at all because I know there have to be priests and stuff who were, for all intents and purposes, they were Orthodox, but they kind of had to become Roman Catholic because they were submitting to the authority that was over them. I'm sure people left the Roman Catholic system to escape back to what was orthodoxy. But at the same time, if you were a good person, if you were trying to follow what the leadership that was put over you, then you would probably submit to your bishop. And the problem here is like the bishop broke off with some of the other bishops. We broke off from each other. But I can't fault the Catholics that just ended up in the situation they're in. So I see a lot of Orthodox that hate on Catholics, and I think really that just needs to be more of a conversation. And then it happens again and again and again where it's like, well, I know better. I can think up a better way. I understand it better than this guy and everyone else who came before me. Some people even going back and retrieving heresies that the church dealt with, in the first, second, and third centuries. But we keep going back and digging these things up because we have such a progressive mindset about things. We often we're headed in this progressive kind of way of doing things, and it all ends up being a mess. So I sit back and I look at all of this, and I look at how much people hate each other over, and I look at how much even the Protestants fight amongst themselves, and this is just not. I do not believe this is what Christ wanted. I do not, and I definitely don't believe that Christ wanted you to just decide for yourself, bro. Like, I do believe that that the church is the church that was founded at Pentecost. Oh, hey, Christian. Yeah, Christian, I agree that we should be able to respectfully disagree, but I also I also just think it becomes kind of a moot point when all of church history, you would have to basically kind of take that and tear it down and reorient it to make a some kind of new church theory work. And another thing that I'm seeing that's very scary is there's the Messianic Jews, right? And the Messianic Jews are, I mean, kind of Christians, but uh, it it's all these reconstructionists like the Mormons, Jehovah's Witnesses, all of these people. Like Dan laid all this out earlier. I don't have to go into all this, but it's very interesting how we got to where we are, where people just keep coming up. They think they're coming up with a new idea. They're like, I finally got it. I know the truth. 1700 years later, I know the truth, right? I wasn't there, but I know the truth. And like all those other guys messed it up. But I am the smartest one. I figured it out. God chose me to reveal this to, and now I know. And now I'm going to teach people this way. I just don't, I just, there's such a need to be right. And, with the Western way of seeing things, like this might just sound kind of crazy, but I don't have to worry about any of that. There's a certain level of things I have to worry about, and that's myself. That's my own sin. That's my submission to Christ. And then, a level above that, there's stuff I take to my priest. I give it to him and therefore give it to God and Christ. I don't have to worry about that anymore. Anyone who's Catholic understands exactly what I'm saying here. Anyone who's Orthodox understands exactly what I mean. So, and then there are things that are not for my priest to worry about. That is the bishop's job, and so on and so on. Because the church, that's just how it goes. Like the church is one relief is that the church is decentralized. So at the very top, there are metropolitans and patriarchs confessing their sins to each other. Who they should be if they're good Christians. They should be confessing to one another. A priest confesses to another priest. Every priest should have a spiritual father. Let's see. I can appreciate that, Christian, he says, "I got a wife and 4 kids to worry about." It's like, yeah, I think too many people are, they are neglecting what's right in front of them, right? Because I'm gonna save the world. I'm the right one. I'm correct. But are you? Because the thing I found is, like, the more I learn, and it's almost difficult for me to wanna continue learning because it's a real bruise to the ego. The more I learn about the church, the more I enter into the church, the more I submit myself to the church, the more I realize just how stupid I've been my whole life and how prideful I've been and, just how much I really didn't get it, and more and more as I submit myself, as I try to deny myself, um and empty out the things that shouldn't be there to fill it with Christ instead. The more I do that, the more I realize how wrong I was before. And it forces me to humble myself. And I was not always a very humble person. But it's a process that forces you to humble yourself. I could never, this person that wished death on me this morning, I could never, ever wish death on somebody just because they didn't wanna be orthodox, just because they didn't want orthodox people or leadership to have more power. I could never I could never do that. I just don't feel that way about it. It's an immediate here and now thing where I'm like, "I'm the problem." If you're looking around at everyone else around you and you think they're the problem, you're the problem. And once you realize you're the problem, that's like the beginning of it. And it's not just, "Oh, I'm the problem, so now I'm going to say the sinner's prayer. Now I'm going to accept Christ into my heart." It's like, "No, I'm the problem and I need to change, and I can only change by cooperating with Christ, by cooperating with the body he left here on earth for us to take part in, to become a part of his body, to become like him, to take part, to stop being so willful, to stop being so prideful. When you wanna snap back at somebody, when you wanna say that thing, to sometimes you just have to hold it. Hmm. And, Christian here, it's funny because Christian, um, according to, how it all works, I mean, I couldn't see a lot more people, that are more heretical in my church's eyes than Christian Pike. But at the same time, I have to realize, um, that there are times where that guy outclasses me, when it comes to his patience with people, when it comes to um his attitude, right? I can definitely see Christ there, right? And we just don't know where Christ isn't. But someone like Christian, I could sit across, yeah, people like equal person. I just, yeah, I don't understand that, because like Christian here, no matter how wrong I think Christian is, right? Christian Pike, no matter how wrong I think he is, I still love the guy. Yeah. Yeah. I'm reading Tar Babies. He says when Constantine defeated Marines at the Battle of Milvian Bridge. Yeah, I mean, we are so we are so lucky. We are so blessed in so many ways. The church survived. The church, through oral tradition, preserved the Bible that some Protestants, a lot of fundamentalists, practically worship that book. KJV, like they practically worship that book. We preserved that. And even in that, where they're like, you guys are man made, you guys are the real heretics, you guys are a new invention. Like they say this about the first church that preserved the Bible, that they sit there and quote it, people. My church saved that for you guys. And to an extent, the Catholics too. I mean, we were one at one point, but the church saved that for you guys. But people are, a lot of Protestants are on such a journey to disprove this person and twist this word and reinterpret this writing and this commentary and um this uh, the the ch- the desert fathers, just all of it. There are people that are just on a mission to discredit credit them all, and this to basically say here's the terrifying theory that I hear from people. I think this is more common with Baptists, but like that the church failed. I mean, that's the one that really gets to me. It says the gates of hell shall not overcome the church. And then there are people that say every single disciple that Jesus trained up and did miracles in front of and probably said a lot more to them than is in the scripture that you can read. That even though they've received the Spirit at Pentecost and established the church, that was a dead end. And then 1700 years later, someone else got it right. That Christianity was a dead religion for 1700 years, that Jesus failed until they came along and helped Jesus get back on track. That every disciple that was crucified, murdered, tortured, it was for nothing. They were a dead end. And the church that bloomed up out of that is the real heresy. Tell me how that makes sense. I saw a guy earlier. He's one of these fundamental Baptists. Um, oh my gosh. His justification for why his fundamental Baptist, independent fundamental Baptist church was superior. Listen to this. The reasoning for why that church is superior is because nobody knows about orthodoxy here. He was bad-mouthing orthodoxy. No one really knows about orthodoxy here. It's not geographically relevant. So we obviously matter because Jesus was so preoccupied with his geographical relevancy. He knew he told his disciples they would do greater things than him because he knew they would spread the church all over the world. Just because we don't poll the highest means nothing. Just because most people have, I mean, it actually made sense to me when I found orthodoxy that it must be the true church because I didn't know what it was. And at the time in my life when I discovered it, I I was starting to feel like I didn't even know who Christ was. We are growing, and I think it's, we have a lot of reasons for that, why we're growing, why the Orthodox Church is growing. I mean, heck, look at all this alien stuff that came out. Go read Orthodoxy and the Religion of the Future by Father Seraphim Rose, Saint Seraphim Rose. Go read it. Read any of Saint Paisios's books, and he talks about things that have come true. He prophesized things that came true, and he wasn't alive to see them come true, but they came true. I And then there's like, not to be mean to anyone particular, but we know somebody who his religion was like the bailout plan from another religion that turned out to not be true, and it had a prophecy, and its main prophecy never came true. So they started a new church. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I'm not hating on him or anything, but I'm just saying, like, you can name saint after saint after saint in the Orthodox Church that has predicted something very specific and it came true. And they don't hinge the entirety of the Orthodox faith on that because that would be foolish anyway, because you don't know until later. We know the truth that already happened. We know Christ is the truth. So I don't know. How can people be so sure when they have no receipts? And the only way they can feel sure about the new invention they came up with or the old heresy they dug back up is to go try to invalidate the people who founded the church. They gave them their Bible. He doesn't need that smoke, man. I already frustrate Jamie because I just don't. I've been through it, right? But look, I mean, I'm not some biblical scholar. I'm just a regular guy that works a job and has a family. Um, I'm not as well read as I wish I was. I don't attend church as much as I think I should. I'm not perfect, but I know who is, and I know what church that person founded. So that's where I put all my hope. That's where I put all my hope. If anyone wants to come up and hang out, I just wanted to kind of get that off my chest because I just thought, man, like we're under such attack right now. We're under such attack. We They are misrepresenting us so much. And like I have people I work with that are like, "You're Orthodox, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, we've talked about it." And they're like, "Man, my Twitter feed is just nothing but these random Baptist guys hating on Orthodox people. What's that about?" And I'm like, "Oh, well, Jay Dyer like wiped the floor with this guy named Jonathan Shelley. He got completely wrecked by Jay Dyer. He was saying like the Bible is uncreated and existed before all things, and before all, like how Christ is uncreated. One second, let me throw this away. Um, so I was like, yeah, that guy got destroyed in a debate, and then his boss and their friends, they all just launched this massive smear campaign where they show the video where the priest is like putting the baby, that fast baptism where he's like puts the baby's head and feet, and that silly meme baptism. They what else did they do? They're like talking about, this is one I wanted to hop on Dan's show, but I just didn't have not gotten a chance because I've been working so much lately. I am on a mission right now at my job. I have been grinding and working long hours because just a personal goal for me this year is to break six figures and to start setting more money aside for my kids to be able to establish a life later on. So that is something I'm working on because in this economy, it's going to be hard for them later on. So that's something that me and my wife have talked a lot about, and I've been working a lot more. So, oh yeah, so these guys, they're talking about the fees or whatever, and they're saying, "Oh, look, they're charging to baptize." Well, a lot of Protestant churches, they demand. I don't know how your church is, Christian, but there's a lot of Protestant churches that they demand 10% of your income up front. Like some of them are like, even before taxes, you need to give us like 10% gross. Like they're that particular about it. The Orthodox Church doesn't do that. The Orthodox Church is just like God will provide, like he feeds the birds of the air. You should tithe, right? It's good to tithe. But in Orthodoxy, you would almost expect in Orthodoxy, because from the outside looking in, people probably think we're so strict and rigid because we pray so much and we have all and we go to church so much. But honestly, it's just usually the benevolence of the priests who have so many services and to take the time to feed this huge flock if they have a huge flock. And um, there's a lot of situations where you have a baptism, and if you notice, most of those churches that these fundamental Baptist dudes are posting about having a fee, um, most of those are Greek. And has anyone ever seen Big Fat Greek Wedding? The Greeks, everything's a party. Okay, the Greeks, there's like 400 of them. If there's one, they know 399 other Greeks. Like, and they all hang out, and you'll see that in like a lot of cultures. You see that in Spanish cultures. You'll see the quinceanera, right? You'll see when Spanish people have a quinceanera and they spend thousands and thousands, like 10 grand on the 13th birthday party for the dress and all this and renting the hall and having a band and all these extravagant gifts and all this stuff. It's like sometimes it's even bigger than the wedding. And the Greeks are so family oriented that when someone's baptized, they want to have a huge party. They want there to be food, and um not everyone can afford that, right? So, like in Greek churches, they will say, "Oh, here's how much you have to pay," because that covers the dining hall. Um, it covers, making sure all the chanters and everybody show up, and they make a big production of the baptism and make it a very special, memorable day. And then afterwards, you're gonna have people in the dining hall. They're cooking and doing all that, and it's setting it up almost like a wedding reception. Tell me what wedding you could have for $1,000. I mean, I feel like that's like the bare minimum, and some of them, like the lower ones that these Baptists are pointing out, are 250. They're just they're just they're just picking and choosing, just like they do with everything else. They're just picking and choosing and having this fake moral outrage. And the reason for this is because they can't win an argument with Jay Dyer. Look, I wouldn't argue with Jay Dyer if I thought I was I probably wouldn't try to call him and argue with him about it, but I don't know, maybe I would have a point, and I feel like he's also humble enough to be like, "You know, you're kinda right about that." Okay? And then we just move on. I wouldn't be like, "Oh, boom, roasted." Like, I wouldn't care. I'd just be like, "Have you ever thought about that?" And then I've seen Father Stephen DeYoung, correct Jay Dyer, and Jay was very humble about it. He's like, "Oh, I didn't know that. That actually gives me a lot to think about." Cool. But you got all these people that are like freaking NPCs in that world, and it's just like, eh, us Orthodox, we're tired of the memes. Like, you don't no one wants to have the conversation or discuss these things. Like, I even have my own boss, like, uh, one of my own managers where I work, he said, "You know," and this guy's got a degree, like, from a theological seminary. And he said, "You know, the crazy thing is, like, I have a master's degree in divinity." He's like, "I don't like talking to Orthodox people." And my friend asked him, "Why don't you like talking to Orthodox people?" And he goes, "'Cause I feel like they know the Bible better than me." Like, I feel like they know all these things I don't know, and it's a little intimidating. And honestly, yes, like, I have been, my marriage sponsor, he's this amazing person, um, but just such an unassuming guy, but he knows so much. He possesses in his home many holy relics. He's a deacon. I didn't even know he was a deacon, but he just deacons where he needs to, like, help a new church get off the ground and stuff. And he's just, a random guy that, I met and got close with, and I find out he's written papers and all this stuff, and it's like, I find that all the time. And these people, they're not full of themselves. "Oh, I wrote this and I did this and I'm so important." Um, they genuinely love on me and are interested in me, care about my family and looking out for me. When I'm not there, they're calling me or texting me. Um, they're not, like, trying to impress me, they just care because Christ is transforming them. And there's just so many people that wanna, like, look cool or be right, and it's usually the quiet person that let's see, we you know, Yoda, you've got to. And, like, I won't speak on a scripture unless I can say it. I'd rather in the middle of a conversation, "Let me check that real quick," go look and make sure, and then bring it back up, and then go from there. Because I don't wanna mislead anyone, but there are so many people that they think they know something they don't even know, that are so quick to jump all over you and say such nasty things to you and be so aggressive when they don't even know. Let's see. Yeah. And I think you know what, Yoda, I think that John Shelley guy, I think when he told Jay that the Bible is pre-eternal, existed before all things, I think he only agreed to that because he didn't wanna back down and he didn't wanna look stupid, but it made him look more stupid, and Jay knew it. Jay got him. I mean, that was, like, devastating for his entire debate. He looked like an absolute idiot. And, you have to watch. You really do have to watch. Like, I'm trying to be better myself. Oh, I'm trying to be better. I'm just gonna open the panel so Christian can just say that stuff on here. Hold on. Let me add guest. Oh, good grief. I don't even know who's watching because I know there's 4 people watching. It looks like there's a great debate going on the, 19th Amendment about, with Rachel Wilson. Yeah, you know, But I'll tell you, I love Bruce. I do love Bruce. I see in Bruce a person that he thinks he's he thinks he's right, and he thinks he's doing the right thing, and I get it, but you can be wrong. Who's that? All right. Logan, if I let you on stage. Oh my gosh.
Hi.
Hi.
Sorry.
Why are you saying sorry?
Oh. How are you today? I miss you. It's been a while since I saw you.
It's been a while since what?
Since I talked to you last.
Yeah, I think I talked to you, what, like a couple weeks ago, maybe?
Uh, hey,
On
I miss you on my
Dan's stream?
show. Dustin's back on there.
Dustin's back.
Yeah.
I hope he's doing okay.
Yeah, he's doing good. He's doing all right.
Dustin's an interesting person.
Yeah. He's a crazy little guy.
I think I really think Dustin has he's a little crazy,
Yeah.
but I do think that Dustin has a good instinct for people. Maybe he doesn't translate it right or react to it correctly all the time, but I definitely think he definitely has he has a way about him of seeing stuff with people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, he's doing fine himself. He's a crazy little guy. And,
He's a crazy little guy. Is
uh,
Christian, are you gonna come up here?
yeah, don't leave him up here with me. Oh,
Chris well, no, Christian's talking about holding Bruce under a little longer to make sure his baptism takes.
yeah.
I didn't get to watch all of Dan's stream, but I'm liking this more assertive Dan.
Uh, honestly, are you sad? I hope you're not sad, little guy.
No, man, I was talking about earlier, I've been working a lot.
Oh
I'm
my god.
trying to my kids go to a private school. I've been saving for a while and
That's good, but
kind of making a lot of sacrifices.
uh, even make sure check the like yeah, it's a good thing to put them in private school nowadays.
Yeah, yeah, I don't want my kids to grow up confused. And then it's a Catholic school, but it's they love my kids and they're good people. And I think it's good for my kids to learn about Catholicism. People give me a hard time about that, who are, Orthodox, but they don't have kids because they don't realize like the school my kids go to, like I don't know, like a third of the faculty members are Orthodox and go to my church. So it's like whatever.
Oh,
So like they have Orthodox people around. They make certain allowances for them. Like they're not forced to say the Filioque way or anything like that. It's really not. It's so many people stress about this stuff and say, "Oh, that's ecumenist to send your." Okay, well, you come, you come where I live, and let's see. No, I'm not doing. I'm not doing that, Yoda. I'm not doing that. I have no ill will towards David. I just think he's corny. That's all.
oh. Yeah, I like David too. I still
Yeah,
like
he's fine. He's just got a little bit of an ego, but it's whatever. He's a young guy, right? Well,
him.
actually, how old is he? Is he my age?
I have no idea. I think it
How
might be.
how old is David?
I think it might have been born in '88. I think.
88. I mean, he's still younger than me, but I don't know, man.
I
He was always trying to give me advice about how I should be and all that, and I'm just like, bro, I'm a grown man with a great job and two kids and a wife. Like, I don't, I'll go talk to, I'll go talk to like the my priest about that kind of stuff. I think there's a lot of people, they outsource way too much stuff to their friends or like acquaintances.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. I keep telling Dan to reach out, Zden, and got ticked. Where did you go? Why? You're not part of the office. Huh?
I don't know what happened. Can you guys hear us?
Uh, I, I can hear you.
Okay.
I don't know what
Yeah.
happened. I thought you kicked me or something. Did you kick me?
No, I didn't kick anyone. I don't know what
I
happened.
don't know what happened.
I think the stream just reloaded.
Okay, yeah, it's been.
I'm not sure.
Oh,
Yeah. Wait a minute. I wish I never heard Yoda before. Has Yoda ever come up and talked?
no,
Never.
never in my when I ever been around him.
Yeah. Um. That's so funny.
I
He's saying.
yeah.
Okay, so Yoda, are you saying that Zeden thought he could eat McChickens on fasting days? Wait a minute.
I have no idea.
No, no, you got to do the fillet of fish.
Oh, oh
Yeah, yeah, that's dude. The Catholics are why. The Catholics are the reason for the double fish fillet, which is one of my favorite McDonald's sandwiches.
uh, I need to. I heard Clay said he might have heard him on Discord.
Clay might have heard TBY.
Yeah, I think he hears them on there. I think.
Okay, you know this is no secret because he I think he said it on his stream after. Um, but I really liked talking to David for that period of time that I was kind of befriending him and talking to him, and
Me too.
um, I did, but I think for me it was just he had I there had been some stuff that had been aggravating me, and I don't have a problem with him. Like I don't think he's a bad person. I just think he can be a little corny and goofy, and it's like that's whatever. We all have friends like that, right?
Yeah.
Um, but it was I think the thing that got me, and this isn't a judgment on him because like I think we've all failed in this way. But he sent me a voice note. Basically, was like, "Hey, man, I went to mass and I was going to receive the Eucharist, um, and what did he say? He was like, I just wasn't feeling the priest. I feel like the priest was just phoning it in, so I left because it was lame." And and I just felt like that was so prideful because like the thing I know is like my priest, he's a priest in a big parish, and he does so much. Like the priests do so much for people,
Yeah.
especially when you have all the sacraments involved in confession and meetings and all this stuff. And these priests do so much for their people. To walk in, you don't know what that priest is going through that day. You don't know what kind of confession they maybe took earlier that day. Um, you just don't know. And I kind of wish I had just called it out, but I didn't feel like arguing about it because I felt like it was going to be an argument.
Uh, yeah. Be careful. You can't say his name around Brother Pike.
Who?
ZD.
Oh, what? Did he get mad at you too?
He's been mad at me for a long time.
Well, I kind of just like cut it off. I just kind of just blocked him and moved on because I didn't want to have a bad like friendship breakup or whatever with him. But it was just like that's kind of what it did it for me was I just felt that that was very prideful to also if you really have zeal, like if you have really have that real zeal, right? and you're there and you're able to receive the Eucharist today, um, I know that I don't have as much zeal as I wish I did sometimes, or that I pray for.
I need to.
But if I'm already in the middle of a service, I would definitely never walk out before I could receive the Eucharist, just because I felt like the priest wasn't chanting right.
That's crazy.
I feel
I've
like
heard
that
some
is a
pretty
bit
bad singers
prideful,
in my life. I don't know.
huh?
I've heard some pretty bad singers.
I guess.
Badger. Yeah. There was a while he told me not to say Brother Pike's name around him, and that one day made a mistake asking him if he would debate Brother Pike. Ever since then he won't talk to me. Zeden.
Yeah, yeah. I don't want us to turn into a
Oh,
bashing
sorry,
Zidane
sorry,
thing,
sorry.
but yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of things I noticed. Like basically, he's like his a good chunk of his show is just kind of copying Jesse Lee Peterson's format, and he's just hopefully he gets some more original ideas. And I really liked when he would go on to other shows, or when he was there was one time he was talking to Jamie and another Seventh Day Adventist, and he just kept asking them to explain things, and like kind of taking that Socratic method. And I was like, see, look at that, like that's great, and I really enjoyed that. And that's when I started talking to him more. But like it's just like I think if he got out of his own head and stopped trying to be cool, he could really make a difference, and just like let people know what he's really like. But I just think he gets, I don't know, he just gets maybe he gets hurt by people, maybe he feels hurt by people, and he doesn't know how to reconcile that.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. I like Zeden. I hope he's.
No, I don't hate David. Like, I pray for David. He's still in my prayers. I love him. It's just like this point in my life, just not the kind of energy I want to be around. Yeah.
Just like Brother Pike.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like David. I actually miss when we used to do the morning Bible studies on his channel. I always look forward to
Oh
that.
yeah, that's so weird. Like, so who's doing it with him now?
I don't know. I haven't been over there in a while.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, but Daniel had a show earlier.
Um, yeah, that's why I did the stream. um, yeah, what Daniel was talking about is good, and like I wanted to say, I don't know if I wrote the title the way I wanted to. It just says Heretics.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
title just says Heretics.
yeah. If you're wrong and someone tells you this, does that make them some kind of hater? It's just like that's another thing that I've noticed is like obviously I'm very careful using that word, especially around like my family and stuff. But like, and it's like like what like heretical churches and heterodoxal churches. Like, there's so many different categories, and Dan went through all that earlier. But like, if I had someone in my family who was like I'll tell you, Pike, like you are by definition, according to what my church says, like, because you're oneness and you don't believe in the Trinity, you're a heretic, right? But at the same time, I can still love you and appreciate that you love Christ. Um and like I can appreciate that. I don't think that means I have to hate anyone or not pray for them or not enjoy conversation with them. It's just like more of there's not an inner circle of fellowship there, if that makes sense.
No, I mean that's the right way to be. I mean, and first off, that's kind of just an adult way to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you go out in the world with people with all different ideas and backgrounds, and you sort of just have to some degree be that way.
Hmm.
But besides just the fact that it's just adult human decency, I have a selfish motive. I love to learn. I enjoy learning. And
Hmm.
so if you just shut people off who have different ideas than you, then it sort of just naturally leads to an echo chamber where you stop learning and growing. And I want to learn.
Yeah. Yeah. Did Pike, did you ever keep up with that one Orthodox guy that I like I had you
We
talk to him that
talked
one time?
We spoke a time or two. It's been a little while now since I spoke to him. I wouldn't say that we kept up, but I mean, I don't think that we're out of touch.
Yeah.
He's a very
Yeah.
nice person.
Yeah, he's going to be a priest. I'm really excited for him.
Was
Oh
he
wow, I didn't even know that he was doing that. That's crazy.
Yeah, he's at the seminary now.
Look at
uh
him.
Badger?
Yeah.
Was he that guy on my show before from Brooklyn?
No, this guy was is not on social. I think he's back now. I think I'm in his Discord. Um but yeah, I wanted to it was just the timing of it, and I'd be interested to see where he's at right now. Because I would have loved to do a series with him and Pike, with Pike kind of coming from his, because this guy is an ex Pentecostal, like
Who is
oneness
it?
Pentecostal, huh?
Who is it?
The guy that I
Oh, the same guy that you introduced me to.
yeah, the guy I
Oh,
introduced
okay,
you to.
okay.
Yeah,
I got
yeah, he used to be a oneness Pentecostal, and um yeah, I would have loved to see like maybe or hosted a series of conversations with you guys.
yeah, yeah.
And I
That's
kind of
interesting.
wonder now that he's on his way to being a priest, if that could maybe happen.
I mean,
I
I'm
would,
certainly open. You know.
yeah, that's something I thought about doing with my channel, is finding Orthodox converts that become priests and then having them talk to people who are pastors or who are really good apologists of their particular faith, and like kind of just putting them together and not having it be a debate or anything, but just having it to be a conversation. uh Obviously I would probably defer more to the Orthodox person, being Orthodox myself, but to more keep it in the spirit of having a productive conversation.
Well, I can
That's
tell you that's a better approach because I'm not a great expert or anything, but I have done a number of formal debates, and most of the time it's just like a stupid popularity contest of who's quicker with their wit, and it's not really a pursuit of truth, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'd say that's true until you get to the higher level stuff like Jay Dyer or Andrew Wilson. um but you know, it's it's being able to it's really just being able to explain your side, and I think that if someone is extremely good at dismantling or building, when it comes to like ideas and concepts and things, that like people can learn a lot from debates. But I think if it's just like an emotional my side one or whatever, um it's not going to be productive or fruitful. I think it's definitely, but I another thing is I really do think we need to get people who disagree with each other back talking more. Um, you know, I would love to see a lot more of that and to be able to facilitate a lot of that.
Yeah,
Um, it's definitely been something I've been praying about, and I probably need to just keep praying about that. But obviously, at some point, start talking and kind of putting feelers out, because I would like to find it be. Can you imagine the independent fundamentalist Baptist pastor that became Orthodox? Like I would love to meet that guy.
I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that have experiences like that would like to have a show to explain it on. I mean, I'm sure that's probably a good niche to get into.
Yeah, yeah, and like someone who understands how to translate for like because it would be cool to be able to give a lot of people a pathway where they're like, okay, let me see this guy talking to this guy, and then he's explaining it, and obviously, you know, it's I'm going to be praying that what whoever I have this priest talk to, since that priest came from their background, they can talk their language and help them understand why they should join the Orthodox Church. Um, but also, like, that's going to give people a lot more contextual information. If you know, if you're a fundamentalist Baptist, you know, who knows? Maybe Bruce watches that and he's like, "Oh, you know, I don't know. It
Well,
could
if you guys
happen."
do get the unique opportunity to baptize Bruce, just make sure you don't miss it. If you know what I mean.
Don't miss it.
Yeah, just make sure you like put the weights on him and stuff.
Oh,
Oh
Badger.
my gosh. I think that what's really funny though, Christian, is like if if you would have to be rebaptized if you came into my church, but Bruce wouldn't.
Oh
Isn't
yeah,
that
because of the formula in which he was baptized.
yeah?
Right, right.
Badger,
So now I'm lower than Bruce.
I know. Is that humbling? Is that a good humbling experience for
Humbling is
you?
it's good for us to be humble.
Badger. You saw
What,
the show the other day? Bruce Lee got into it with Steven.
Steven?
Yeah, Bowen,
I don't know who that is.
the power guy. He was on Dan's show the other day.
Was he
Yeah, you were talking to him about. He said the original church were Messianic Jewish.
Messianic Jews?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a new. What do you think about that, Christian? I kind of wonder what you guys think about that.
The Messianic movement.
Yeah, the Messianic Jews, like it's a new. It's really just kind of going back to some old heresies, but kind of jumbling them together. But like the Messianic Jews is a thing that seems to really be taking off, and I think that every era we get a new crop of like the people that try to like mix the Old Testament in this weird unnecessary way, and and right now a lot of it seems to be rooted in the Zionism stuff. I don't know if you know much about the Messianic Jews.
Yeah, I mean, I've had some friends who are in the movement. It's interesting. I mean, the weird thing about Messianic Judaism is that the majority of them that I've met were not Jewish, and which I thought was kind of strange. On the day of Pentecost, all of the converts were Jews, so they were technically Messianic Jews. They were Jews who received their Messiah, and that was true until Acts chapter 10 at the house of Cornelius when the door was open to the Gentiles.
Mm-hmm.
And so all of Christian believers until Acts chapter 10 were Messianic Jews, and
Yeah,
it's weird to me because all the ones that I've met were not Jewish. So I'm like, what do you guys mean you're Messianic Jews? I don't know what that means.
I think it's like an additional get out of jail free card. Like they just want to have an extra. Like
I mean, if you feel
we're
like there's some bonus
Christians.
in it,
We're
like you
kind
have
of
to at least have
Christians,
it.
but we're also Messianic Jews.
Well,
It's just weird. Like technically, any Jew that converts to Christianity is a Messianic Jew, but like you guys are not
What
Jews
if
at all.
what if someone became so what if someone went from being Orthodox and then they became an Orthodox Jew and then they came back to the Christian Orthodox Church?
I'll
Would
tell you, like a minister said one time. There's an old Pentecostal preacher that I follow from decades ago, and they were asking him one time about marriage and divorce because conservative holiness churches are very strict about divorce,
mm-hmm.
and his response was, "Some of you people have been married and divorced so many times, and you have kids with so many different people that even God doesn't know if you're free." That's what it made me think of.
well, Badger, I have a question. I seen this meme by a liberal where they said they show a picture of a nun. She's with the nun suit. They say
A
this.
nun suit? Okay, we can call it that.
They said this doesn't bother you, but this picture of a Muslim lady with her Muslim lady suit on does. Then you're a racist or something.
Well,
What
that's
would
weird. So only people of color can be Muslims then?
I don't know. The leftists always play the race card with stuff.
Yeah, I know. That's because it's a kind of weak-minded kind of
But
thing, right?
thing is, what would you say is all right for nuns, but not all right for Muslim ladies to wear their Muslim suits?
Um, I don't think it's so much. Well, okay, so like when I see me personally as a person who I revere modesty and head covering in the church. And honestly, like even when I see a Muslim woman with a hijab, like I respect that because what it symbolizes to me is like they are covering their hair, they are respecting their husband. They like that's what a lot of that means is to be humble and to cover one's glory, which to the woman would be the hair, for to be modest. Now, I don't know about the theology of why Muslims do it,
Oh,
but still the action of, of respecting God and showing reverence to God, and covering one's hair, it does not bother me if I see, like, obviously it's more meaningful to me when I see a nun, because the nun uh has dedicated her entire life to God, and that particular garment that she's wearing denotes that, right? Is that she's praying for the world every day, all the time. That she's dedicated her life to the service of God, and she's married to Christ. So I can definitely respect that. In Islam, it's just like there's a lot of problems with Islam. Um, and in my opinion, being of the Orthodox Church, Islam stole a lot of our moves.
yeah.
If you go to an Orthodox church and go through the entire liturgy, especially like during Holy Week, you're going to see a lot of bowing, prostrations, and things like that. And I'm pretty sure Muhammad probably walked into an Orthodox church and was like, I'll take that, and I'll take that, and I'll take that. So I feel the same way about Muslims and their religious practices as I do about Protestants that pick and choose what parts of the Bible they want to believe, or reinterpret or whatever. So that's kind of the way I see it. Like, but if a Protestant quotes a scripture to me or explains something and that lines up with the truth and what my church has taught me, then, like, am I going to be mad that they said it? No.
Yeah, yeah, I saw that meme. It was crazy. Why they always have to play the race card leftists? That's just crazy.
I don't know.
But other thing is, and nuns. I don't normally think they like. Here's the problem they have when they're taking pictures for their driver license stuff. I hear Muslims still would keep their thing on when they're taking their pictures. But I think nuns are more likely to take it off when they're taking their.
Nuns don't cover their faces, so Logan. I mean, maybe a schemo nun would, but I don't think nuns cover their faces
Yeah, that's that.
because they want to be able to relate to people and look people in the face and serve them and make them feel comfortable.
Oh, have you ever seen that movie, the horror movie called The Nun?
Yeah,
Is it nonsense? So,
I don't know. I don't like the idea of making a nun into a horror character, though.
it's not actually a nun; it's a demon that's
I know
pretending.
it's a demon that's pretending to be a nun, but still.
Yeah, it's crazy. Almost as crazy as Brother Pike.
Yeah.
Almost.
But
I don't know. What do you think about that, Pike? What do you think about hair covering and that kind of traditionalist stuff?
I mean, the New Testament teaches that men should have short hair and women should have long hair. Um,
Yeah.
and it teaches, like in one place in Corinthians, it says that a woman's hair is given to her for her covering. So it's my understanding that a woman's hair being past her shoulders is the definition of her head being covered.
mm,
Well, women in the church, they cover. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I would have to look up the.
Well, I mean,
I
there's a
wouldn't
lot of
want to
people that
speak
don't
out
see
of
it the
it.
same way I do. I mean, there's many
Yeah,
Christian denominations who do believe in like hats and head coverings and things, and I don't go around making it my business to find fault with them. I just don't think that's what Paul was saying.
mm, mm. But I need to. The other day on our show, it was crazy. Steven got into it with Bruce. It was crazy. He came out with a picture of Bruce, a gay picture of Bruce or something. It was weird. It was crazy.
yeah.
Then we got into it bad.
So you're talking about 1 Corinthians 11:14.
I would have to go look. I have a
Does
note
it
on it
does
somewhere.
it not even nature itself teach you that if a man has long hair, it is a dishonor to him?
Well, there's a few different verses. Most of them are
Yeah,
in Corinthians where he talks about the subject. And there's actually other verses, some of which, if memory serves me well, are from the Old Testament to help understand what they meant by long and short,
yeah,
which I believe has to do with the shoulders. I think that's kind of the magic line in the sand.
Hmm.
Um, like I know people, for instance, who teach that if a woman ever even trims the dead ends off of her hair, it's short. I know people who teach that. I don't believe the Bible
Yeah,
teaches
it's a
that.
bit much. Yeah.
I understand why they do because there is one scripture in isolation that almost sounds that way.
Yeah.
Um, and that's like with most doctrinal things. I mean, it's not usually good to take one scripture in isolation. It's good to look at the whole subject everywhere that it's being discussed and kind of get a full view of it.
Hmm. It's that's interesting because in like a lot of Orthodox monks have longer hair. They have longer hair, they have big beards, and it's I don't know. I would
Uh,
have to look into it more.
yeah,
But it's well, does it say anything about beards? Like, what do you think about beards?
Wait, I'm sorry, Jess, I got distracted. What did you say?
What do you think about big beards?
Oh, I mean, some people make them look cool. Some people make them look dumb. I guess it's a person by person
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know if I understand the question.
Now, do you think there's any that the church cares about the length of one's beard or anything like that?
I mean, not in a technical way. I mean, I will say
Yeah,
this. I think that we should try to be presentable,
yeah,
and I think that if someone can have a beard and make it look decent and gentlemanlike and presentable, I have no problem
yeah,
whatsoever with it. But I will say this. My personal opinion is that most men look more presentable clean shaved, but I would never teach that as a doctrine.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
oh, Bruce, Badger.
Did you just call me Bruce?
Sorry, Badger. Yeah, it was crazy the other day, and
Hold on, I gotta figure out how to kick Gigi off the show. He just
oh,
called me Bruce.
oh, sorry, but yeah, it was crazy the other day. But yeah, now and other thing is yeah, it was so crazy the other day, but uh, uh,
I'm listening, but I'm also searching for about what Pike was talking about with the long hair.
well, with the beard, like uh, Daniel, he has a great, well, man's beard. He
Oh,
had a red beard. Know who else had a red beard? Mohammed.
really?
Yeah. So I
He's a
think,
ginger, huh?
yeah,
That just shows you gingers are evil.
yeah.
Um.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's I'm reading through this. It says that he was addressing ornamented like long hair, not just length, but like feminine adornments with like the braiding and the curling and the like floofy feminine stuff. Like in that men should not have like elaborate styling hair, even for men and women. So you shouldn't have like this elaborate kind of pagan oriented thing. So like I feel like I feel like a way we could translate that is like, if you had this is something that I heard a lot when I was younger is like there were girls in my church and this one girl got a tongue ring and the pastor had a problem with it and like looking back on it like at the time I was like what's the big deal, but he was like well the tongue ring at that time was very heavily influenced by porn culture, and so I think that would kind of fit that, right? Like if you're doing things that are from a pagan or idolatrous culture, if you're borrowing bits and pieces from ungodly cultures and influences and then bringing that into the church, that's not good. So, like I was just reading about the reason that the priests and the monks would grow their hair longer and have these big beards is the reasoning behind it was to show that they were not available to be husbands or even if they're already married, but to have this big beard, and then you would have all the soldiers that were around after World War II, and they're clean shaven and so like it was a way to set yourself apart, but it shouldn't be ornate and adorned. It should be this kind of like humbling, like kind of putting a barrier. That's what the priests actually say in my church is like the facial hair is almost kind of like a barrier to a little bit of a barrier that people don't feel so intimate with you in that way. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Yeah, there's a lot of things Paul talked about in those chapters. He talked about, like you said, the adorning and plating of the
Hmm.
hair. He talked about costly apparel. He talked about decking yourself out in gold and jewels. And, a lot of what he was talking about in those couple of chapters just simply had to do with drawing attention to oneself in a way that wasn't humble, like you said.
Yeah, it's all about modesty
Yeah, the
and
idea is
keeping
just
the
not to
gender
draw
norms,
unnecessary
right?
attention to the flesh.
Yeah. So like if you were in a culture where there were a lot of decent men that had longer hair, but maybe they're not making it so adorned or trying to be all crazy at attracting attention, but whatever the run of the mill respectable guy is, that's kind of where you should fit, right?
Yeah, I think that's kind of it. I mean, like there was a technical sense in the sense that men and women should have
Well, in
evidently
American culture,
different
it's
hair.
definitely been that way for a while that like you have a nice just conservative hairstyle and a clean shaven face, and it was like that for a long time.
Well, that's one thing you see in conservative churches.
Yeah.
You see,
Yeah.
like in Amish churches or Mennonite churches, Pentecostal churches, old school Baptist churches,
Mhm.
even Orthodox churches, you see a lot of women with longer hair. It's a lot more commonplace in conservative churches, whereas a lot of more sort of cool hip denominations don't think anything about it. But Paul did specifically mention that a woman should have long hair, so I don't think he would have said that for no reason.
No, I
Now, he
agree.
did also in one place, he said, if anybody tries to make an issue out of this, then just, we don't have any such custom. And the tone of what he's saying there was don't split the church over it. But he was giving his opinion that it was right.
Yeah.
oh, Badger, I seen
Yeah.
this video of a priest. Daniel showed me before. I showed on my channel. It was a while ago. I think he had long hair and a beard.
I don't know.
And
Plastic African?
no, it's a different guy.
I don't
But
know. I don't like the thing is like I'm usually listening to like uh people read writings of my Saint Paisios, or I'm listening to church history stuff, and like I like Dan, but I don't sit around and watch his show. Like,
it was on my
yeah.
channel. He wanted me to show that video of this one priest talking.
Yeah.
It was a while ago.
There's a lot of arguing on your show, so I don't really
Sorry about that.
involve myself. Oh, yeah.
But and yeah, it was a while ago. It's been a while since.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So it says here, Christian, that St. Paul instructs every woman who prays or prophesies with her head uncovered dishonors her head. It's the same as having her head shaved. So like I can understand where you got what you're saying from.
Well, there's another verse, and it might even
A
be in the
woman
same
ought to have a
chapter.
sign of authority on her head because of the angels.
There's
This is
another verse. I can't remember if it's in the same chapter or not, but he
yeah,
actually says very plainly that a woman's hair is given to her for her covering.
really.
Yeah, he says it in those words.
Let's see. That's funny because there are Orthodox Jewish women that hide their real hair under a wig just to like stay ahead of that. like not because of what Paul said, but like
Well,
it's
that's one thing I
another.
think people misunderstand is back in the day, especially in Middle Eastern cultures, it was very, very commonplace for people to cover their head just because they were out in the hot sun. And, when we look at images of the cultures back then, especially around the Mediterranean Sea and in the land of Palestine, like everybody had their head covered. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you go there to this day, a lot of folks have their head covered.
Even Broder Pike.
So
I actually don't like hats, Logan. I never have.
Why?
I don't know. I just never could get used to them.
Well, I went to a Catholic church once and they asked me to take my hat off.
yeah, you shouldn't wear a hat in church in general.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's just pretty much every church, Logan.
I was
I
going.
remember I remember that this guy walked in and he was wearing this like flat billed hat and it had the like Monster Energy, but it said Messiah.
Oh God.
And the deacon like walked right up to him like, "Can you please take that off right now?"
Messiah. That guy was cool.
It says here Eastern Orthodoxy does not uh, so you're quoting 1 Corinthians 11:15.
I'm sure. I mean, I would have to go look it up.
Yeah, it says Eastern Orthodoxy does not interpret those verses saying, and this is all just commentary on St. John Chrysostom talking about this. Interpret this verse as saying a woman's long hair is the only covering needed, especially during prayer and worship. Instead, the church fathers and tradition understand it this way: a woman's long hair is her natural glory and a God-given covering. It distinguishes her femininity and beauty. However, during prayer and in church, she's still called to add a cloth head covering as an act of voluntary humility and obedience that shows that she submits not only by nature but also by her own will. And that was his commentary on his if it be given her for a covering, say you, wherefore she needs she add another covering. That's not nature only, but also her own will may have a part in her acknowledgement of subjection. So he's talking about, yes, your hair is a natural covering, but it's an act of submission to God, to add that covering onto it, to voluntarily cover. So it's a tradition.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, there's a lot of conservative denominations that do use head coverings even to this day.
Yeah.
I personally don't see any scripture for it, but I do see a lot of culture for it.
Well, and just the fact of revering the Theotokos, you're going to want to wear a head covering if you want to be like her because you've never seen her with her hair uncovered in any icon ever, you know? Um, so I could also see that kind of factoring in.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've never even thought about that. I don't think.
Yeah. But yeah, I can. That all came from Logan's question about Muslims, but I think that the intention behind it is good. To voluntarily cover one's hair, and to keep with that tradition. And the thing is like in America, culturally, before feminism became a thing, uh, women typically just wore head covering at church, even Protestants. So
It is interesting how the culture, especially like in America and in the West, developed to where it was never considered impolite for a woman to wear a hat in church. I've thought about that before.
mhm. Yeah, because it's a head covering, so it's almost like a echo, for some that don't have it anymore. But it's okay for women to cover their hair in church, and there has to be a reason why, for so many generations of Christianity, that seems to hold true. That it's okay for a woman to cover her head with an object that's not her hair,
Oh, Badger.
and a man cannot. Yes.
I remember hearing. Is this where that came from? Even the Muslims have. Is that to keep them safe from the angels attacking them?
I don't I don't know. Like Muslims think all kinds of crazy stuff that I don't understand their theology very well. Like they think dogs carry unclean spirits around with them.
Yeah,
Like they hate dogs.
that's crazy.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, that's becoming a problem in London, and like Londoners who don't want the Muslims there are like getting more dogs and walking them all the time just to make the Muslims uncomfortable.
Mhm.
And they're like, please don't walk your dog in this neighborhood. And it's like, That's the whole thing. It's funny when cultures can kind of clash like that and try to enforce their thing on each other.
Do you think it's because of Brother Pike?
Yeah, Brother Pike caused it. Brother Pike called up all them Europeans and told them make the Muslims mad, get more dogs.
Yeah, it was me.
I feel like I feel like Christian Pike is probably not a dog person though.
I don't really love animals. Like, I like them, but I don't love them like some people do.
Yeah.
I probably like dogs more than cats, so maybe I am technically a dog person.
Yeah. I think most reasonable people enjoy dogs over cats.
I just think cats don't really love you back. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I've seen cats that have proven that wrong, but yeah, generally they're pretty self-interested for sure. They're
Yeah,
more
as
focused
a
on
rule,
you, and
dogs are
then
more affectionate.
yeah, dogs are more focused on you, and the cat expects you to be focused on it. So cats are inherently very much more selfish.
Do you think they're nauseous?
I don't know. Guys, I gotta hop off though. My family just got home, and
Oh,
speaking of dogs and stuff, my dogs are going crazy.
oh,
Okay, buddy, it was good talking to you.
good
Hey, it was
talking
good
to you.
talking, y'all. Y'all have a good night. Thanks.
You too.
See ya.